Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you are having a great afternoon wherever you are. It is time for our Friday afternoon with Kate Save. Hope everyone's had a great week. I just find that every single week goes quicker than the last, goes ridiculously quick. So I'm going to invite Miss Kate. So a big hello to everyone who is watching. What's everybody up to this weekend? There we go. We'll see if Miss Kate is ready. Thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in. It's so nice to see you all. I haven't been on Instagram for so long. I did say that last fortnight that I'd try to get on a little bit more, but it's been a rough week actually. So we're picking up the afternoon by talking about the festive season, stresses, how you can get weight gain, how you can get unhealthy. I am inviting Kate. I don't know where she is. So we'll just chat while we're waiting for Kate. But we are going to talk a little bit about the festive season, how the stresses of it all, drinking alcohol, the foods that you eat at the festive season can really affect what you do. Well, there we go. She's accepted. Hopefully she's coming on now. Dun, 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 drum roll. Hey, from Darwin, a big hello. My cousin's coming down from Darwin. Hopefully, I don't know why it's saying Be Fit Foods is unable to join. Let's try again. Go live. Again. Let's see if this is working. Hi, Miss Kate.
Hi, how are you?
The good thing is I can see you and you can hear me, so that's a bonus for this Friday, right? We got it right off the get-go.
Absolutely, and I could hear you before. We just got in, which is fantastic. And I'm talking about, so with festive season, you're one ahead. With the next fortnight session will be all about the festive season. This one, I'm going to speak to people about stress, sleep, caffeine, and alcohol.
That's actually a really big thing. And the first one I want to get onto, obviously we think about alcohol, we think about stress, they say for themselves, but there is so much online when we were talking about what we were going to have. And you know, we talk about festive season from now right through to Christmas. And I know we're going to talk about that next fortnight, but a lot of people, there's a lot online. Coffee, is it good for you? Does it help boost your metabolism? Does it help you lose weight? Does it slow your metabolism? There's so much out there, and I'm finding really conflicting reports about caffeine. Does it put on weight? Does it make you lose weight? Is it good for you? How much?
Absolutely. Well, where to start? So with the caffeine, I guess there's actually so much research out there to show that the long-term effects, it can actually help with the reduction of Parkinson's disease, type 2 diabetes, even Alzheimer's disease has been linked to drinking more than 2 cups of coffee a day. And some of the studies are 4 cups of coffee a day. However, on the flip side of that, as we all know with stress and everyday lives, caffeine actually increases our cortisol, which is our stress hormone. And for some people who can't process caffeine very well, and we know we've done that genetic test and you find out whether you're a slow metabolizer of caffeine, a moderate or a fast metabolizer, people that are fast metabolizers of caffeine probably get some of these health benefits. I mean, it's got lots of antioxidants and polyphenols, and it's really good for us in that sense. But on the flip side, the people that can't process caffeine because of a particular gene that they have or they're slow metabolizers, what they see is it actually increases your stress hormone, which then increases your blood glucose output, which can make you less insulin sensitive and can actually be perhaps actually detrimental to our blood sugar levels and perhaps even type 2 diabetes. But that's kind of what we see in the short term. So it's very conflicting, the information. So I'm pro caffeine in small amounts because I think there are some benefits, and it's certainly a high antioxidant source, and look, people love it. So you can't take people's coffee away.
So again, what would you call small doses? Because, you know, if studies show that 3 to 4 cups a day, I mean, that to me, I'm not a coffee drinker. For anyone who knows me knows I'm a super high energy person, and coffee just sends me out of control. It's actually quite funny. Everyone at work makes sure that I do not have coffee at any point before I'm about to go on air. So 4 cups to me seems like a lot. So what's a moderate amount of coffee?
So a lot of these studies talk about 300 milligrams, right? Which is depending on whether you're having instant coffee. And I actually, when I have instant, I choose a green blend because it's actually higher in antioxidants than green tea. So if I'm going to have instant, I just make sure it's a worthwhile one to be having. But instant coffee has much less caffeine. So something like a Nescafe is probably around the 60 milligrams of caffeine per serve. And depending on how heaped your teaspoon is, it could be a little bit more, a little bit less. But once you get onto something like an espresso, you're looking at over 100 milligrams per serve. And if you're having a large coffee, they're putting 2 or 3 shots. You may be doing 300 milligrams in one serve, and even more than that if you're having more than 1 coffee a day. And that, in my opinion, I don't think that could be good for our nervous system and our stress as well. And look, it does all come down to your genes. So the more that I dug into this topic, the more it came down to this particular gene of how you process it. So the benefits are in people that can process it well, and the effects that are not so good are really in the people that can't process caffeine. And I think, like you said, you know the effect, and I know the effect on me. I'm the person in the middle that I can have it in the morning, but if I have it after 12 o'clock, I can't sleep at night. So,
yeah. And I know that for those people who are watching that are really intrigued as to whether coffee is going to affect them in a positive way or a negative way, do get your DNA tested and test if you have that gene. And I know that a good friend of mine, Luke Milton, who's in the United States, he has Training Mate over there, exceptional personal trainer, and he's done so much with celebrities and so forth. But he's a big advocate for my DNA, big advocate for going and getting your DNA tested and finding out what foods suit you so that you can maximize the time that you train or maximize your day that you might only need to train 3 times a week or what have you. And same with coffee. If you know these triggers, you know, maybe you can either cut down or you can not feel so guilty about having that coffee, right?
Absolutely. And look, Dr. Libby Weaver has a very strong opinion around caffeine. She talks about the adrenal kind of burnout stuff. And she's got that book, Rushing Women Syndrome, if you've heard of that. And she really thinks that coffee plays, or caffeine, it plays a really harmful role to our hormones, our metabolism, and what it does to our stress and cortisol. But I think at the end of the day, it does come down to your genes and your genetics, because there's short-term effects, there's long-term effects, and then it's how it affects the individual and how, what else you're eating, I guess, too. Because the sad thing is a lot of people will get the majority of their antioxidants from their coffee, which means they're not eating enough vegetables and fruits during the day. And you can get your coffee, your antioxidants that way, or green tea. So my suggestion would be at least swap a couple of your coffees if you're having more than 2 a day for either a matcha or a green tea. And the tea has a really unique compound called theanine, actually, and it has these huge health benefits. It's very good for calming the nervous system, but these antioxidants actually prevent damage that can be caused by stress. So you could balance out your coffee with green tea or matcha, or even the turmeric lattes. Have you had a turmeric latte?
I haven't. I actually had a girlfriend who gave me a sachet of one. I haven't had it yet, but I've heard they're amazing. But even just the tip that you were saying, changing out if you normally are an espresso lover, and that's amazing, choosing that as your coffee your main coffee in the morning or your main coffee at night, but then swapping it out for maybe the Nescafe green coffee, just even for, so you can have one really great coffee, enjoy it, embrace it. That could be your first one in the morning. People usually say that's where they like to get their big hit from. But then if you feel like another one throughout the day, swapping it out for something with less caffeine in it.
Yeah, and look, this product too is actually quite incredible. This is a performance coffee, and the first time you have it, you will know you're having performance coffee. So, Karen, this may not be the one for you.
Not for me.
But what's really interesting about it is it's made from the green coffee bean, and it's actually a single origin green coffee bean. So the type of coffee is more pure. It doesn't have the mold that it can be in some of the other coffees. It's really actually dangerous for us. It's got turmeric, so it's anti-inflammatory. So there's lots of benefits there. It's got black pepper, it's got stevia, it's got MCT oil, and most importantly, it's got ginseng, which is actually really good for activating the brain. So rather than it just being like an energy drink with huge amounts of caffeine, it's the same amount of caffeine as one shot of espresso, but it's got all these anti-inflammatory properties as well. And they call it performance coffee for a reason. You have one of these and you can perform, particularly before sport. You find you've got huge lift in energy, but it's a more long-lasting energy because of the MCT oil as well. So it stays in the bloodstream. Yeah.
Does that come in beans, or is that in already pre-done powder, or how does that come?
Oh, I will show you. It's tiny little single-serve sachets, actually, which I really like because you know that that is your portion. And I can see here, so your caffeine is 115 milligrams. So you know exactly what you're getting in a sachet. And then in terms of all the health benefits and everything else, it's portion controlled, which I think is really important with caffeine, because if you are having too much, then you may be kind of pushing your boundaries with how much you should be having per day. And look, there's plain ones, there's flavored ones. It's just something different for coffee drinkers. And look, for me, I'm always looking for, you know, if you can get more antioxidants, if you can get the turmeric in the coffee and you don't need to have a separate one, but each to their own. Some people go, this ruins my coffee because you taste the turmeric and you taste the flavour in it. But to me, I eat for health, so I'm not too fussed about things like that.
I have to get you to send me the name of that, because I know I'm going to get people asking me on my Instagram. And I know my girlfriend Ange, who just tuned in, she watches our every fortnight.
Yeah.
That the fact that it's got MCT, the fact that it's got your coffee, so if you are a coffee lover, the fact that it's essentially, I mean, she does a lot of workouts and she's in the gym, so doing it as like a pre-workout kind of have your coffee, and she usually likes to train anywhere between 9 in the morning and midday, so that would be great for her to have her morning coffee, and it's got all the MCT, all the goodies in it, but also giving her that energy to get a great workout. So I have to get you to send me the name of that.
They're called Before You Speak. We've started selling it at BeFit Food only because we've found it's helped people that have gone into ketosis. If they've been on a 2-week challenge, if they have the caffeine in this performance blend in the morning, it helps them with any sort of fasting. So if people are used to eating large amounts of food and you restrict their food, the caffeine actually has an appetite suppressing effect, but then you've got all of the antioxidants and the MCT oil as well, which is really, it helps the long-term release of it. But then the ginseng, I find it quite different when I take the performance coffee to just a normal coffee. It does have a very different effect, and it's particularly good before a workout, in my opinion, anyway.
And so we can get that through BeFit Food.
Yes, yep, all Before You Speak. Yeah.
I'm on it. Okay, should we talk about alcohol? What do you want to talk about next?
Sure, we'll go to alcohol and then we'll go to sleep and stress, or stress and sleep. So I think the key thing with alcohol, and I have my favourite Stonia Pinot Noir here. I love a glass of red. And I think, once again, for me, I do consider, and I know you're the same here, Karen, anything that I put in my body, I want to know that it's not doing more harm than good. So even with wine, I choose a red wine because it does have the resveratrol, the antioxidants, and there's some longevity benefits of having red wine. And when they've looked at the blue zones around the world, so in places like Sardinia in Italy, you know, they may be having a carafe of red wine a day, and they're living to over 100 without any sort of chronic health conditions as well. And the funny thing is, though, in the blue zones...
That's good news for everyone watching on Friday night. They've got their wine going a carafe of red every day. Love it.
But at the same time, I guess they're also... there's these populations around the world, say Okinawa in Japan or Loma Linda, California, where they're certainly not drinking red wine, or they're not drinking alcohol whatsoever. So the direct link... It won't make you live longer on its own, but I think if you are going to drink it, you might as well, if you like red wine, have one that's going to potentially help with the long-term benefits with the antioxidants. Or recently, I've got into the non-alcoholic drink. So I tried this Naked Life Classic G&T, and it actually has no sugar in it. It's only got 5 calories. You put it on ice and it tastes like a gin and tonic. I think it's actually a really amazing non-alcoholic product.
And so many of the supermarkets are doing incredible designer gins now and designer products and showing and having no sugar. I did tell you about my red wine last time. I'm going to have to send you a bottle, my red wine with no sugar and no carbs. And no carbs. So I'm the same as you. If I'm going to have red, I want to make sure that, or any alcohol, I'm going to make sure that what I'm putting in is the best, either the best quality or a better option for me, just like with the coffee that you mentioned before.
Absolutely. And I think I showed you these last week too, the Etch Sparkling, which are made from Australian botanicals. They've got no calories. They're a beautiful replacement for alcohol. They look like Sauvignon Blanc when you pour. One looks like rosé, one looks like Sauvignon Blanc. No calories, and just the Australian botanicals in them. They're just beautiful tasting, and it's a nice premium sort of non-alcoholic drink, I think, because we talked about last time too. There is definitely an alcohol, well, I don't want to use the word problem, but there's a cultural norm with alcohol in Australia, and it is becoming a problem. And I think with stress increasing, looking to these non-alcoholic versions, I know personally for me, if I crack one of these open and I put it in my nice wine glass with a bit of ice in it, I get the same sense of, oh, what a big day, what a relaxing feeling as I do from having the wine.
Yeah, wow. Just quickly on that, because I know that people that are watching, and I did get asked this question, if we were to say have those drinks that the healthier for us, that have no sugar, they're low in carbs, they're non-alcoholic. But if you said, okay, well, I'll have one non-alcoholic and one with alcohol in it, what is our best option? Gin, vodka, like what is our best to add to when it comes to our health and well-being? Like obviously no alcohol is going together, I get that. But I know people are watching and they're going, okay, Kath, that's great that they've got a non-alcoholic option. But on a Friday night, so Monday to Friday, I mean, if you're an everyday drinker, I think it's fantastic that you can then say, look, Monday through to Friday, I'll have a non-alcoholic option. I still feel like I'm getting that feeling. But on Friday, you know what? I want to have a drink.
Yeah.
So what would be an option?
So, look, if we were looking at all the options, I'd first say if you are a wine drinker, then red wine's going to have just those antioxidant benefits that you're not going to get the same amount from the white wine. So I'd be going for a red over a white. And if we're looking at spirits, it's actually all about the mixer. So a lot of the spirits, particularly your clear spirits, are going to be insignificantly different in terms of calories and alcohol content and those sorts of things. What matters is what you drink them with and how much of the mixer you have. So if you can find a good quality mixer that doesn't have any added sugar or artificial sweeteners, I just think artificial sweeteners are revolting. We just don't know what's in them, and they're linked to all sorts of things. But there are drinks out there that don't have the artificial sweetener and don't have the calories or the sugar, and they taste just as good as the real thing. So if you're going for a gin and tonic, then choose a tonic that is a no added sugar natural one. And there are quite a few of those on the market at the moment. They're more expensive, but the way I look at it is if you're only, going to have a couple, then I'd rather invest that extra $2 or $3 per, drink into your body and your health than actually trying to burn it off at, an extra couple of gym sessions, down the track. So.
Well, I actually found when I was going through a massive health kick recently, I found that making like a berry smoothie, so I would make a smoothie with some berries in it, some mango, some pineapple, put all of the fruits in, make it up into a bit of a slushy, and then pour a little bit of vodka in it.
That sounds amazing for summer.
It's a fresh,
yeah.
It's great. It's like a cocktail, so you can mix up, do your smoothie. I get the frozen mango, the frozen pineapple, frozen berries, chuck them all in, blend them first, and then once I've got the taste right with the smoothie, then you can add a little bit of vodka in, and then you're getting all of the benefits that you would from your fruits and your berries. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. You could do your pineapple with a bit of mint, or you could do the berry with a little bit of there's all sorts of things you can put with it, but I just love that idea.
Pineapple and cucumber are fat burning, so you could do pineapple, cucumber with a touch of ginger, and then vodka. That's actually quite nice, with a little drizzle of passion fruit.
Wow.
Very nice.
I'm coming to your house. If only you didn't live so far away.
We should do a cocktail edition close to Christmas.
Yes, let's do that. Let's do a cocktail edition. I think that's a great idea. A couple of years ago, I did something like that, and it went nuts. It was so much fun too. Obviously, the team enjoyed it, so yeah, it's something we'll all enjoy.
I'm up for that. I'm sure all my followers are up for that as well. Let's move on to stress.
Yeah,
because there are so many different forms of stress, and from what I'm hearing from so many people now, they actually don't. Because often stress we think of, you know, either super busy work or bills need to be paid, that kind of stress. That's sort of immediate stress that you feel. But what I found this time around with lockdown, is that people just feel different. They're not quite sure, but it is another level of stress that's sort of underbrewing, underlying, not as obvious as that instant, I'm stressed, I've had a big day kind of stress. It's accumulative, and it's just little things that add. And then, so that sort of stress can actually be quite damaging to our body, can't it?
Yeah, that's that chronic stress that we talk about. Our bodies are built to do short bursts of stress. I mean, that's how we run away from bears and things like that. But when we're feeling that we're running away from a bear 24/7, that's a massive problem, because our body isn't built to be constantly in a state of stress. And that is that adrenal fatigue that gets talked about. And that is certainly what Dr. Libby Weaver that I talked about earlier, everything she writes about is this rushing women syndrome, and men as well, obviously. But this whole idea that we're trying to do too much all the time, and we never actually stop and just breathe. And, you know, and because we are fueled by caffeine and things like that, it's that constant running and then putting things in that add stress. And at that point in time too, when you feel stressed, you're zapping glucose out of the bloodstream, and then you feel like carbs. So you start putting the wrong foods in, and it's got that double-edged effect that the more of the wrong food that goes in, the more fat cells you produce, and those fat cells produce inflammation, and the more inflammation that you have, the more stress your body is under. So it's very compounding. And I think I've got a few different foods here today that are, I guess, foods that you could call that are anti-inflammatory or anti-stress foods, and they can help for lots of different reasons. And an example here would be, so chickpeas that you find in a hummus, for example, or I've got tahini somewhere here as well, this one. So when you're having these sorts of food, not only have you got the types of dietary fibre that sort of help with the gut microbiome and the balance there, but these particular foods have got a bit of a calming effect overall on the body. So the plant-based proteins that are in these foods, as well as some of the other really important compounds, some of the amino acids that are in these foods actually help us to produce, so tryptophan that is in these foods helps us to produce our serotonin and our dopamine. And they're the chemicals in our brain that make us feel pleasure and make us feel happiness or being content. So these foods are really good for helping with that amino acids that can then help with our brain chemistry to make us feel good. And a similar thing is in the nuts as well. So not only have you got that amino acid in the nuts, but in the nuts you've got the omega-3s, so those essential fatty acids which reduce inflammation, and you've got a heap of antioxidants from magnesium and all sorts of things in the nuts, the phytochemicals, and in our fruit and citrus. So the vitamin C here, all of that actually help our body combat the stress. So if we're getting damage from stress, which a lot of us have had that, the vitamin C, the zinc, the magnesium, the omega-3s, and look, with omega-3s, a lot of people don't like fish, so we always talk about salmon and fish and the benefits, particularly mackerel or salmon, the fatty ones. Chia seeds have got omega-3s, the flaxseed oil has got omega-3s, and then even things like, I bought in an omega-3 super peanut butter, so if you're a peanut butter lover, get the one that has omega-3 in it, and a nut blend. So this is almond, Brazil nut, and cashew. Yes.
When we're talking about de-stressing, because we talk about alcohol, and obviously a lot of people go straight to the alcohol because they do feel that underlying stress. They do feel they need to instantly calm their body, whether it's, you know, we used to call it arsenic hour at 5:30 in the afternoon with the kids. Fortunately, my kids have grown up and moved out of home now, so I don't have to worry about that. But yes, I'm guessing, I mean, just even some of the foods that you said, if you make a dip, you know, you've got the tahini, you've got, you know, the chickpeas, you've got different elements there. Even having nuts on the side that you can, you know, just pick on a few nuts while you're having a drink it can increase that sensation. So then you don't feel you need to go for a second, a third, or a fourth drink to bring that stress, or to feel like you're bringing that stress level down, because all of that's working.
That's actually an amazing thought too, having a lot of these foods as your healthy snacks and actually prepping them before you start the alcohol, because the problem with alcohol is once it's in our system, it actually triggers us to want to eat more, and it triggers us to want those carbohydrate foods, and we put the wrong things in. Whereas if you've done your healthy platter before you start drinking, then that's all you've got in front of you. And, you know, you're going to have that double-edged sort of effect of the benefit of having the right foods with the alcohol and getting a better night's sleep as well if it's more calming.
Totally. And even getting a carrot stick and dipping it in that peanut butter, like yum. And if that's helping us with our healthy fats, it's helping us with our vegetables intake for the day, it's helping de-stress, and it's helping us take maybe that one less glass of vodka, which we'll be very excited about when we wake up the next morning, right?
Absolutely. And look, I've got another thing here that I don't know if many people know about hemp seeds. These are delicious. You can actually eat them by the spoonful. You can mix them into anything. They're a really good source of omega-3s. Plus, they've got your zinc, magnesium, protein, iron, essential fatty acids. So it's another way of getting the protein in and the good amino acids, but it's also then got the calming benefits and the omega-3s. So they're just something new that I've started adding to my diet, and they don't taste like what they sound like. I thought the hemp seed would be, a grassy, weedy, dirty tasting thing, and they're not. They're really more like, to me, they're a more sesame seed flavour, so they're really enjoyable.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
I'm always picking up new food ideas. Every single time you come on, I'm like, I've got to go back to the grocery store. I've got to go and buy some of these exciting things. But it makes a difference. And for so many people that join on here, and I do get a lot of messages after that, people, particularly friends of mine that watch, they say, I've just picked up just a hint of changing one component of what you've talked about made a huge difference to how I feel. So that's essentially what it is, isn't it? It's changing small components incrementally instead of making major changes that aren't sustainable.
Absolutely. And that's every time I think I bring different things on, because I hope that people can take away one thing. And, it could be as little as putting walnuts in the diet for omega-3s. That's going to help with your mental health. That's going to help with your blood health and your blood lipid profile, your HDL, your cholesterol, your LDL. It can be all the little things, but they actually add up. And we always talk about getting 30 different foods a week for variety. Well, here's 30.
Yeah, absolutely. And very easy to integrate. As I said, you make a platter where you've got some carrot sticks dipped in the peanut butter. You make a little dip. You chuck some walnuts on a little, I always find that sometimes a little tiny mini bowls of salad to put on platters like that are quite nice as well. If you did a rocket salad with some walnuts on it, there's so many different options that you can have before you start, and you're increasing and less likely to potentially go for the bag of chips or the big chunk of cheese that we all do.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, look, there are times that you're going to have them, but I think the portion control is the key. Have your cheese, but just make sure you've cut it away from the block and put the block away. Don't leave the whole block out, and particularly if there's only one or two of you at home, because the tendency is the more you drink, the more of that block you're going to eat. So cut your portion that you want to eat, and put the rest away.
Hide it in the back of the fridge.
Yes. And that's a problem in my house. I'm the only one who likes blue cheese. So if I bring out the blue cheese, I've got to cut it, put the rest away, because no one else is going to eat it. And if I put it all out, it's all mine.
I just found I'm a blue cheese eater as well, and I could eat literally a whole chunk in one go. But I just found a brand new cheese in Coles. I probably shouldn't tell anyone on Instagram, because they're going to go out and buy it, and then they're going to say, okay, now I'm obsessed with the cheese. But it's where you get the feta and goat's cheese and everything. It looks like the little plastic seal of the goat's cheese, but it's actually cow's cheese, and it's got honey infused in it.
Wow.
It's next level. It's so soft. It's so light. Normally I go for a goat's cheese, goat's feta, and mix it in a little bit of honey with it because you've got that sort of bitterness mixed with the sweetness. But this one, cow's cheese, and it's in the block the same as the goat's feta, and it's
really good. Yum. And that, look, at the end of the day, all those things are fine. It's just the small portions. It's just your portion control. And it's really the processed food and the carbs that's the issue. It's not your little bits of cheese and all of these things. These things are fine. It is the processed stuff.
Yeah. Now, what else can affect us as far as our health and well-being?
Sleep is the last one I wanted to talk about. And I think it ties in everything together, because if you're stressed, you really struggle to sleep. If you eat or have too much caffeine, you won't be able to sleep. Or for most of us, particularly the people that are slow or medium metabolizers of caffeine, whereas the fast metabolizers of caffeine probably can still sleep okay, but you shouldn't be having it at least 4 hours before bed. And lastly, alcohol. It can make us tired and make us want to go to sleep, but in our sleep, it actually changes the rhythms or our body clock with our sleep and our sleep cycle. So if you have a lot of alcohol before you go to sleep, you may fall asleep, but you won't get the same quality of sleep. It'll change your sleep quality and your sleep cycles, and you'll wake up feeling very unrested. So I think it's really important to tie it all together, that we have good sleep hygiene. And foods-wise, there are a few things that can actually help with our sleep. So some foods actually contain a little bit of melatonin, which is the hormone in our body that helps us sleep. And that's why the old-fashioned thing of having milk or malted milk before bed, they actually think that does keep you in sleep longer. Magnesium's really good, and I've got this hot chocolate that's infused with magnesium, and it's actually a protein-based drink, 72 calories, 10 grams of protein, and only 2 grams of carbs. And it's really high magnesium to relax your body for sleep.
So if we're taking magnesium tablets, we take them at night time best before we go to bed, yeah?
Absolutely.
I didn't do that. I actually take them no wonder I'm so tired during the day. I always think I've got narcolepsy, but I just take all my vitamins in the morning. And so magnesium's one of them. So I should swap that out and take it at night time.
Yeah, and the key thing with magnesium is not taking it at the same time as calcium. So some of the different vitamins interact and they'll bind together, and you won't get the good effect as well. So yeah, and look, magnesium's in all your dark green leafy veggies, and I know you eat great dinners, so you're going to get magnesium there anyway. But that extra magnesium, it can be important, because actually all of our plant-based food, depending on where it's grown, the time of year, the quality of the soil, we do get very varied levels of these vitamins and minerals. And I've got some sleepy tea here. I know for me, good sleep hygiene means turning off the blue light, having the room really blacked out and dark. Any sort of light coming in, it actually stimulates, or it suppresses your melatonin production. So the blue light from your phone will stop you producing the melatonin that helps us sleep. And I also would always take a sleepy tea, just something relaxing, like this is chamomile, orange blossom and honey, but any sort of relaxing tea. That's my sleep routine.
And if you have a routine like that, where you get the room prepared, turn my phone off an hour before, and I'll just, put a little face mask on while I'm having my tea. If you get into a routine where you're preparing your body to go to sleep, your body also knows where it's going. It's like when kids are little, if you do the same routine every single day, they just go to sleep quicker and quicker and quicker, because they're already preparing for it. They know what's coming. So I guess it makes sense to do that with adults as well.
Yeah, and you're winding down your body. So you putting your mask on is your wind down. You know that you're finishing for the night. And I think I was bringing out this little sleep tight tea as well. I think in the routine, it's about it being something that you look forward to, that's a bit of a ritual. So if you get a nice little teapot and you've got your favourite sleepy tea, then you get excited about going to bed. It becomes something that you're looking forward to. Your book, if you're reading a book, your cup of tea, sitting in bed and going to sleep. So,
yeah. I love that. I always learn so much when you come on, and it's the little things, like I said, every fortnight I'm learning something new or integrating something into my diet. And I know that I've got a lot of feedback from people that have picked up, whether it's 1 tip or 10 tips, just making those subtle changes when you're more aware of it, and having someone, my thing, as I've said before, is being creative when it comes to food, and even just thinking of little ideas. But some of what we talked about tonight, just by incorporating 2, 3, or even 4 of those extras just in one platter. So you're having them all at the same time, but it can make a massive difference.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Karen. I think I'm so inspired just by doing these things, because I know that every little thing will actually add up. And if people have tuned in to the last sort of 4 or 5 sessions I think we've done now, and I know you've saved them on your Instagram as well, each of those little things, even if you take 1 tip away, it will be helping your health in the long term. So short term, you may not go, oh, I don't know if it makes a difference, but pick up all these little things and it does have a compound effect. And in years to come, you'll live a happier, healthier, less stressed life and be sleeping better.
Education is everything, and particularly when it comes to our body, we only get one go at it, and if you can sort of get it working as best as possible, you have got the best chance about fighting off, some of the nasties that do come our way throughout life. And I think the older you get, or every year, I mean, we've been in COVID for 2 years, it blows my mind that that's gone so quick. But, every year, if you're integrating more health options, it does help you fight off some of the things that may come your way if you continue to go, the way that you go if you're not eating well. So, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Talking about alcohol, obviously, talking about stresses, talking about sleep. It is so important to make sure we're making these changes, and so important that you're sending that message out there. Just quickly, can you give the coffee again? Because I know that it is available at BFit Foods, but for those people that just tuned in, if you are a coffee drinker, and we've talked about coffee and the impact that it can have in some people when it comes to energy levels, when it comes to adrenal overload, if you are looking for something that's going to give you a kickstart throughout the day without the huge amounts of caffeine, you've got the MCT. Just tell us quickly about that coffee again.
So it's got the green coffee bean, so it's really high antioxidant. It's single off origin coffee bean for people that are coffee lovers. It just means it's a higher quality coffee without the mold that can be quite damaging as well. It's got the turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory, the MCT oil, which slows the release in the bloodstream, and then the ginseng, which stimulates the brain. So you have more alertness and a nice, even, increased energy level. So they're just something, you can have them on their own because you can get them flavoured or get them plain, and you just drink them black. They've virtually got no calories in them. They're just, if you're a coffee drinker, it will enhance performance, particularly for sport.
Yeah, I love that. And if you are someone who desperately needs a coffee to start the day, but you want to make sure that you're starting it the right way, kickstarting your brain, kickstarting your energy. And that MCT is the sustainable energy as well, which I like. It's not just that instant hit that you might get from a traditional coffee. It's that sustainable energy that you get and fat burning. So I love that. Go on to BFit Foods if you want any more information. As I say, this is not a paid commercial. This is me just loving listening to Kate every second Friday. Catch the website if you want more information. There's great nutritionists there to help you out, and you can find out so much information and kickstart your way to good health. Next time we're talking about the lead up Christmas parties.
Yeah,
options because.
And maybe your healthy cocktail ideas too, Karen. I love that idea.
I'm going to pop it here in 2 weeks' time. I'll make my healthy cocktail. I'll give everybody the recipe. Thanks so much, Kate. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Always great to have you on. If you've got any questions, send them to us and I will do my best to get them answered by them. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thank you. You too. Bye, Karen. Bye, everyone.
Try to get on the video.